Support me on Ko-fi for exclusive content unavailable to YouTube. Also, join the Discord. The links will be in the description. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome back to another Factorio Tuesdays, where we're continuing our heavily modded mod pack. Last we left off, we were attempting to make some oil refineries, and I am going to lower the volume on that Factorio play there. It's a little loud for me. I think I had to turn up my volume in the last video, but this one, I am going to lower it down. Alright, so, trying to make oil refineries, we needed tungsten, so we made tungsten. And now we need steel. A lot of steel. I think it was like 130 plates each. Some odd, right? Oh no, absolutely not. It was 40. Nowhere close. But there is something that we were trying to make that does take that much, and I will tell you what it is later when we get to it. For now, we run out of iron, so we're going to get more when we start crafting the next oil refinery. There will be a small cut in the video in just a minute. I can't remember what it was for, but oh yeah, I installed a mod during this jump cut here in just a second. You won't see it, but it was for logistics. But anyway, as I've mentioned before, the only thing we can get is offshore oil. So for now, that's what we're gonna have to do. So we're researching those, and then while we're researching those, I was like, okay, well, how can we get it back to the base, right? Because it's all the way out. There's one spot all the way up. There's one spot all the way to the left that we found it. How can we get it back to the base? And I decided for now, you'll see that at the very end of the video, so I'm not gonna tell you, but. I know it's a tease, but anyway, so this is the mod. That was the jump cut. This is the mod I installed, logistics beacons. All it is, during some testing that I've done, in order to use the long-range delivery drones, they have to be connected to a logistics network. And so what I've decided to do is get those beacons so that whenever we get robots, instead of having to have all of the logistics networks connected with robots and roboports, what we can do is take those long-range drones and run them between each of the bases. So at this point I was calculating how many blue tech cards we needed to get to logistics beacons, because we're gonna run out of lead in, like, you know, the next episode or two. And it would be really nice to get long-range beacons to go and pick it up, but that's not going to happen. So for now, we're going to stick with what we've got, and while in between these next two episodes, what I'm going to do is going to figure out, look up how to use the haulers and the depots and stuff for the vehicles. That's what I'm going to figure out. But for now, we've got some biters intruding on our base. You notice it takes me a while to notice that things are being destroyed down in the bottom there. And the reason for that is that I'm playing without sound, guys. So you might think that I'm just not catching things, and that's true. But that's because I'm not playing with sound. I'm actually, a lot of the times, I'm watching YouTube in the background. OBS lets you record specific Windows audio, and that's what I've been doing. Well, it's a plugin that I have for it. Now I finally noticed it, but most of the things that were destroyed were robots, so it doesn't really matter. There's some walls and then a turret that were destroyed too, but those are easy to replace. So you can see I took the turret out of my inventory and fixed it, but yeah. The bots are trying to repair the walls over here, which is great, you know, that's what we want. But just the base that spawned right here, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time clearing out some more bases because they always come back. And it's really annoying, but we've gotten the top side taken care of a good ways. We just still have not gotten this lower area taken care of all that well. You can see they just expanded a worm there, you know. But anyway, in the meantime, while you're watching me do the same thing I've been doing the past few episodes, well, ever since we started the series, really, we are researching water transport, tanker ships, and offshore oil, as well as automated boats, boat logistics networks, I think. We may not have quite researched that yet. But anyway, it's going to be on the docket for today. So, this is something that's not in standard Factorio. It is absolutely 100% a modded item. You know, so far we've seen some of that, you know, like the wind turbines and things, but they're not entirely unheard of, right? You know what I mean? I mean, there's steam turbines and such, and there's no real wind generation except for in mods, but at the same time, it wouldn't be completely out of character for Factorio. But the one thing that Factorio has, you know, it kind of sets it to where you're not really able to do much in the world as far as changing the world, and that is the water stuff. So all you can do is put, you know, usually terraform the water and get rid of it, right? But with that mod, the water transport, I don't know if it's AAI or whichever mod it is that puts it in there, but we now have boats. And so, because we have offshore oil, in order to access the offshore oil platforms, we have to have boats, tanker ships, if we want to have them automated to get the oil and bring it back to us. If not, we can use just regular ships, barrel up the oil, and so on. You know, but it's a little time consuming. But really, because of where we're at in the playthrough, until we get Blue Science 100% automated, or at least enough to get to logistics beacons, we are kind of stuck with using ships to get the oil, and then putting it onto a train and rolling it all the way back to the base. And we still haven't researched trains yet. So, you know, but that's going to be coming in this episode too. We're going to research those trains as well. But for now, we're still just clearing out more biter bases and everything. And I don't bother with a lot of this creep because they're just going to come right back in the next few bits. But at least we got the possible expansion chunks semi-decently away from our base. So we shouldn't have to worry too much in the rest of this episode of biters expanding back to this area. And of course, you know, I say that now, but I already know that there was another base that showed up right next to ours again in that same spot during this episode. So we really just need to get those big old walls down that we've been talking about forever, and really just knock these biters back a long ways. The problem is that the chain gunners are not very good on, you know, at navigating the creep. The creep just completely kills them, and it takes, you know, 5-10 seconds, and the chain gunners are dead. So they're good for early game, but once we get to around here, I mean, they just can't handle it. So, you know, if it wasn't, like I've said before, if it wasn't for this heavy armor that we started out with, the power armor or whatever from that early start mod or whatever, we would have been dead many times over, and that would not have been good. Some of you might be noticing, see here we're going to set up train research and other things as well, but some of you might be noticing the big blinking exclamation point in the top left corner over by on the top of the coal mine, as well as the fact that none of the burner generators have coal in them. And that is because we run out of coal in our veins. Finally, we finally used up the coal. So in a minute we're going to be dealing with that, rearranging the things there. But yeah, it's just finally run out. So we're going to hopefully work through all of the veins here. But now I finally noticed it, I think. Or no, I'm just getting the steel ingredients. I still haven't paid attention to it. I haven't paid attention to it enough to care. I'm just trying to do what I wanted to do, and that's all I'm trying to do. So, yeah. Anyway, trying to clear my inventory out once again. Still just filling up chests I mean, there's no real better way to do that right now, except to use the stuff in something. And we could use it to make ores, but at the same time, the thing with that is it just is like, you know, there's no point. However, now that I'm thinking about it in the post-processing voiceover, I'm thinking about it that we probably need to find out how to do that, because if we could turn it into lead, it would save us a whole bunch of problems for a little while. Because we're running out of lead, and it will be very difficult to get more until we get all that blue science made, and I think blue science takes lead. So, well, I know it takes electronic circuits, which take lead, because it takes advanced circuits. So, you know, we're going to run into an issue very quickly with that. But anyway, we're going to start this here. Going to rearrange this. We're not going to feed this with coal. We are actually going to swap it over and process fuel and just feed the coal to the grenades here, as well as to the phenol crafter down in the factory building. Just cleaning things up, making it look a little better. Also, I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little strange. For the past few days, the past few videos, my voice has just been kind of, I've got fits or something. I don't know. But I can tell it myself, you know. Maybe I'm trying too hard or something. Who knows? But, I guess I'm screwed back away from the mic. You can't really hear me all that well. Anyway, it's just a mess. But yeah, created the first boat at 22:30:47, I think that said. Yeah, 22:30:47. So that's a long time we've been playing this world. And you know, I would be willing to probably bet that half of that time has been spent dealing with biters and biter nests. You know, I mean, honestly, it's just, it seems like that's how the whole playthrough has just been playing out because of it. So, anyway, we're routing the coal over here. We've already routed the fuel. I'm just trying to get past this little copper facility here. I didn't really feel like moving it. Continuing on with belt spaghetti. We will eventually fix it. Don't worry. We're going to be moving to a new base at some point. But right now, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing and running it all sorts of ways and not caring as long as it all works. Right? That's all that matters. Anyway, now that we've got that taken care of, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go check on the coal mine, see how it's doing. Seems like now that we're running it, it's running a little low. But I just wanted to check on it. This sentry was damaged, I'll replace it. We are actually still way out of range of any bases over here, so that's great. They haven't been really encroaching up there as they were before. Hopefully it stays that way, but we really need to explore more of the map, because that's the only way to get them from expanding towards our bases, to give them other ways to expand. Right, so that's going to be our issue here. But, and I keep putting this belt the wrong way around, but anyway. Here we go. And then I didn't put them far enough out, so we're splitting off some fuel to go up to this burner up here that we never did, this boiler, to give it fuel for steam so that it can continue to mine graphite. You know, we just stacked fuel in there at one point and left it, and it's been fine ever since, but now it's finally run out, so we fixed that. Still burning natural gas on the gas power station there, but that's not a big deal. Still trying to make some steel. I finally decided, because of how much, so if we look at this, the tanker recipe takes 101 steel per tanker. So I decided, you know what, we're going to need to automate that. That's not going to work. I ain't about to sit here and hand feed this thing to make 100 things of steel when it takes, you know, a whole stack of iron to make like 50 or something. I forget exactly how much it is. Not 50, but it's lower than that. But anyway, I just am like, you know what, let's just get this automated. It's just gonna be one foundry for now, but that's enough for us at the moment. Not a big deal. We're gonna pull some salt out from right here and pull it up You know, it's a very strange mixture of ingredients for steel, but I'm sure it has perfectly logical explanations in real life. Salt, iron, obviously iron and coke, that makes sense. Carbon and iron is very common ingredients for steel that everybody knows, but I'm not sure about the salt and the graphite. I'm wondering if it's just something because a lot of the Factorio modded ingredients, as far as like tungsten and titanium, they use graphite as a surfactant, I think it is. Not a surfactant. What is it called? Oh shoot, I can't think. It's like a, I guess it's like a surfactant, if I'm thinking of what a surfactant is correctly. Um, it's like when you sandblast something with particulate matter. Um, it's like that, I guess, is what my head is thinking. But I can't remember exactly the word for it. I know it's in the game. I just forget. I've forgotten what the word for it is. um, but anyway, I'm thinking that's the only reason why it's in there. But in real life, they could very well use graphite in steel production. I don't know. I'm by no means a metallurgic. Well, what am I trying to say? Metallurgy engineer. Is that the proper words for that? um, we run out of transport belts. Going and pick some more up out of our chests. But anyway, yeah, is that the right words? Metallurgic engineer, metallurgy engineer, or is it like a scientist? Or it wouldn't be. I guess metal worker is just the easiest way to say that. I don't know, but something like that. You know, I am not a metal worker. I don't know how they make steel. I guess you would also possibly call it a forger, maybe. That would be something, you know, that's what they do. They forge steel. So, but that's just like a blacksmith, right? So it wouldn't be a forger. I don't know. An alloyer. I guess that's possible. I mean, the steel is an alloy, so it's possible that an alloyer would be the proper term. But now I'm going to be thinking about this the whole time. I'm just going to look it up. I'm about to look it up right now. You know, that's something I do. If I'm trying to think of what something is and I can't figure it out, I'll look it up. You know, if I'm curious, I'm going to look something up. We have Google in our pockets. I mean, you know, it's perfectly fine and healthy, I believe. But anyway, what is someone who makes steel called? Let's look that up. Okay, it just says a blacksmith is a person who works with iron and steel. That's not what I'm talking about. Metalsmith, but that's still just blacksmith. Okay, let's see what this says. Metalworking occupations. A smith, a jeweler, a founder. I think that's what we're looking for. Let's see. Also, just while on the screen here, we're looking for the different recipe ingredients for the tanker ship. No, so founder is just somebody that uses the oh man, what is it? Like molds and casts? So yeah, that's not quite right. I know a lot of these, you know what these are called, but a lot of these are not the right words that I'm thinking. You know, I'm not really sure. It could very well be a founder. See, it's a metallurgist. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not a metallurgist. That's what I thought in the first place. I just thought it might have been like some kind of engineer or a scientist other than just the word metallurgist, you know? But that makes sense. Okay, this is something important. We are experiencing our first boss battle from Rampant. So this is enemy soldiers. It's the very first one. Very easy to beat technically, but without really good defenses, you're not going to survive this. You can go and take the offense, and that's what we end up doing, but if I didn't have all the biomass we do to make these first aid kits, I would not have survived this, nowhere near close. I actually could not craft first aid kits fast enough to beat these guys if I had not already sat here and crafted a bunch before I went after them, right? So just keep an eye on this. This is also showing me that we really need like red ammo in everything instead of just the yellow. So that's something to look out for. We need to up our bullet damage. We need to, you know, all that stuff. It makes me sad to see that lead belt empty. But anyway, we are going to walk over here and meet them head on. They show up on the map regardless of the fog of war, so that is one thing if you fight them on your own. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna just shoot them one at a time. So this is a big thing. Some of them have shock turret ability, some of them have laser turrets, some of them come up and punch you, and then there's a bunch of them that act like just machine guns in the back. You can see how quickly they're draining my health, but because they're all ranged just as much as I am, I have to go around and just pick them off one at a time from within their range because they have the same range as me. So yeah, this is going to be something that you ought to be really careful with if you're fighting them in your own world if you play this. And one last one to kill, and we've done it. That's the first boss wave completed. I was trying to see if there's any way, you know, any loot or anything we got from that, and I didn't see anything, so that's okay. But yeah. Pretty interesting concept that Rampant has here. I've personally played a bunch of free play, or not free play, God mode worlds, creative mode worlds, whatever you want to call them. And these boss waves get very, very intense after a while. So we need to prepare quickly. Thankfully, it takes a little while before they attack again with the boss waves, but when I'm talking about like they get really intense, I'm talking about biters bigger than our factory buildings. Like, you don't want to deal with these guys. Here we are researching the rest of the water and the rails and things. Just things that I could research at the time. That was green science. We don't have military science, we don't have blue science set up, so those are two that are going to be added later. We will definitely need to get military science, but it's not just as simple as using the original recipe with the grenades and the walls and everything. This one takes the biomatter that we gained from killing biters. Well, not killing biters, but picking up creep. And that's something that we can automate, but not anytime soon. So for now, all of the military science will have to be using just biter creep biomass that we've picked up. But at the same time, we also need that biomass for med packs. So it's hard to really decide where it should go. I know there's a ton of it. And as you can see on the map, there's another base that's come close enough to surround our base with the expansion chunks. But yeah, see, so this is the crude oil we're going to go for right now, up in the top. And the reason is because there are no expansion chunks in that area, meaning all the biters are far enough away at the moment, at least 7 chunks away, that we can build there and not be worried too much about it. Of course, it'll be in the middle of the water, so it won't matter too much. But anyway, I'm just counting this out here. We're making these tungsten carbides to build the tanker ships, I believe. No, the offshore oil rigs require tungsten carbides. So we're doing that here. But yeah, we're just hand feeding this for now because it's not a huge deal. We will have to automate this, I'm sure, eventually. but right now it's not a big deal. So we're making offshore oil rigs now. Once we get the rest of the materials, which I believe is just zirconia, or no, it's just steel. We just needed more steel. And I counted it wrong. I think I ran out of aluminum first, but then I still counted the steel wrong. I needed 2 more plates. And also the whatchamacallit, electronic circuits as well. You know, finally ran out of those. And because they take solder, which is only made in the foundry, we can't make them in our inventory. So I went and just picked up a bunch of solder from inside the factory building here, because we will need it at some point, I'm sure. Just had a little bit. Anyway, then we're just going to craft these here, and we're going to head up and place them down. They take a ton of stuff, so yeah. It's a lot. They each take an individual boiler. They have 50 engines, a steam turbine. I mean, you know, you can see the pipes, the steel beams, the cables, the gears, and 5 oil pump jacks for each one. I mean, it's a ton of materials. So we finally are getting these crafted. We're going to head up here, and the good thing about these oil rigs is that they produce their own power. In case you didn't notice, they did, like I said, they took a steam turbine to manufacture. And the reason for that is because they will produce their own power out on the middle of the ocean, or the lake, or wherever it is. So that means that we can then take these oil platforms, place them down, and then use them to power any assemblers or anything that we need to power at those areas. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go up to that lake there, put the 2 oil platforms down, put terraform with the, oh, I can't even remember what the stinking things are, man. It's late, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, the, what is it called? Goodness, I've played this game for however many hours, and I still can't. Landfill. That's what I'm trying to think. Landfill. Alright, anyway, landfill. We're going to put landfill in between them, put some tanks there, and we're actually going to end up putting them into barrels so that we can just take the barrels of oil, bring them back to the base, and use them for what we need. Just to save us the trouble of trying to deal with trains and such at the moment, because trains are kind of difficult to produce at the moment. So all of these vehicles are just really tough to put together. They take a lot of materials, and we just don't have all of them automated yet because we've been fighting the biters and a lack of lead in trying to make ammunition, and it's just been defenses had to go up first before all the rest of this stuff. So, and we're also planning on changing the base anyway, so, you know. But this is the lake here that we have to go into, where the crude oil is, the deep offshore oil, which is just called deep oil. Place the boat down, hop in the boat, run it over here to the oil platform areas here, the 2 deep oil veins, I guess you would call them. I don't know. What is the proper word for offshore oil? Viaduct? No, that doesn't sound right. That's like the water. Subterranean chamber? I don't know. Why I don't know why I can't think of like the proper names of things right now. But anyway, I have to go back home because I didn't have enough stone and I forgot to grab any landfill. So I'm doing that. I just decided to try and drive through the forest, and then halfway through I was like, this is just getting annoying. I'm just going to come out of it. There's rocks in the way. I don't want to deal with this. Anyway, what is that called? Oh man, I know the word for it too. That's the problem, is all these words are words that I know. I just can't think of the word. I mean, it's how it is, I guess. I just cannot, for the life of me, get it into my head. What is that called? An oil... Oh. Goodness. A reservoir? But that doesn't sound right. Oh, man. What is it called? Oh. I'm lost, guys. I'm just lost. You know, I'm just lost. Um, but anyway, this is coming up to the end of the video here with the oil. I am actually seriously gonna look that up too. I really don't know why it's called. Why I can't think of the words. Um, um, I guess it is an oil vein. Okay. Or a cavity, but I don't know. I guess it is an oil vein. Okay. Well, that's what I said the first time, so I suppose I was right, but I thought it had a different word. Anyway, we're going to craft some barrels here. We've got some steel plates. We can use them. They're one steel plate per barrel, so it's not that big of a deal. It's not all that expensive. I stop at about, I stop it, and then I make it into, I think, 20 barrels. Toss some more landfill down to put an assembler here. What we're going to do is just set this oil to be filling barrels whenever we're in the area. Whenever it has barrels, it'll fill the barrels, really, is what the case is. So we will use the oil as we need to, and that'll be it. Of course, I didn't actually provide the barrels. I didn't put a chest, so you can only put a stack of barrels there at a time. So I just added a chest here to put the rest of them. But we're gonna wait till all the barrels are full, and then we'll pick them up, and that's gonna be about the end of this episode. But anyway, if you enjoyed me struggling over my words for the past half hour, definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe, support me on Ko-fi for exclusive content. Puzzle Factorio scenarios is what I'm doing there right now. Also join the Discord. But this is me signing off, and I've been producing videos. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.